Welcome to the Industry Insider, brought to you by PromoCorner. Each week, promotional product professionals Meg Erber, Jeff Franklin, and Stephen McFadden, along with special guests, will discuss industry news, trends, and events with a focus on educating the promotional products industry. The Industry Insider, the nerdy news you need to know.
Welcome back to yet another exciting episode of the Industry Insider, your promotional products podcast where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. My name is Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA, and I know I cannot be the only one that misses the promo horrors intro. I feel like we should have played it one more time. I don't know. What do you think, Stephen? Should we have played it one more time?
I mean, yesterday was Halloween.
I think we should have done it one more time, but it's too late now.
It's too late now.
Yeah. Oh, well. How are you doing today, Stephen?
Doing good. For those of you that don't know, yesterday was the first day of the end of the year because as soon as you hit to Halloween, you're basically go to Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and the year's done. So hope you guys are ready for 2024.
It does flash. It does just happen to flash. Meg, how are you doing?
Man, I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you guys. So much has happened and so much hasn't happened, I guess. All the same thing. We went up to Maine for a weekend. And it's when all the leaves were changing colors. It was so beautiful. But then it snowed like 2 days ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope my pipes don't freeze and break. All right. So that's where we're at, just panicking until we go back up at Thanksgiving.
Oh, so you're not sure if the pipes are frozen?
No, I sent my guy Vinny over. He went over and he took some pictures for me. So he sent me a picture of like the view and the lake. It's like all foggy and it was real snowy. It was really pretty. So he sends me occasional pictures, but yeah.
Nice.
How are you, Jeff?
Well, I'm doing all right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Doing all right. Kids enjoyed their trunk or treating and all that good stuff over the last couple of days. And this morning was absolutely freezing when I went to the gym. So
I have one more question for Meg, if that's okay, Jeff.
Yeah, sure.
Since she didn't mention that she's her fantasy team, does that mean you didn't win?
Hold, please. I actually have a text message from Tony saying, I went to bed and I was winning, and then Booty Sweat swept the board again. I am like at the top of our league right now.
Meg, somehow you keep winning, but you also have like the lowest points for in the league. I don't understand how you're up there, but you're in third place overall. That's not going to last for very long.
People are just intimidated by Booty Sweat, Jeff.
I think they are.
It's not going to last for very long. I can tell you that. So Stephen or Meg, to answer your question, I mean, we went from 80 degrees on Saturday to like 29 degrees last night in a matter of no time. So yeah, wonderful weather. We are joined today by a special guest, Nick Nalbeck. Sorry, we're just now getting to you 4 minutes into the podcast, but look, it's customary for us to give our special guest a good 3 to 4 minutes to sort of introduce yourself. And since you're not in the promotional products industry, we'll maybe ask you how you got started into podcasting and or maybe how you became introduced to Chat GPT, because that's what we're going to talk about today is AI and Chat GPT, because we've got some updates for you guys. So take it away, Nick.
Yeah. So as Jeff mentioned, I got into the podcasting space, and that's really where the introduction to Chat GPT kind of came into play. But it was about, middle of 2020. I had wanted to get into the video stuff. I wanted a YouTube channel, wanted to do all that. And I was actually terrified of doing that. I would set up to record myself and like lock up and freeze and freak out. And I realized, okay, rather than do video, maybe I can talk to people and do a podcast. That's kind of like a good intermediary step. And since I did that, I just kind of fell in love with the medium, ended up turning that into more of a business and profession. And then all of this AI stuff started coming out. Even before Chat GPT, there were several tools that were kind of poking out, showing us what was potentially possible. And then Chat GPT basically blew the doors off the whole thing and said, look at this is crazy. And my business partner now, Mark Ronick, and I, we saw an opportunity. We said, people are going to want to learn this stuff. They're going to want to figure out how to use it, and specifically for podcasting, content creation, that type of stuff. So we kind of went all in on the AI stuff. We're constantly trying out new AI tools, learning how to use ChatGPT in a way that frees up a lot of our time. And yeah, we just really fell in love with the AI of it all.
Yeah, so I was actually introduced electronically to Mark through a promotional product distributor that I'm good friends with, Seth Weiner, with Sonic Promos here in Maryland. And he basically told me, we were having a conversation at one of the regional outings. And I said, we'd love to really start using Chat GPT more specifically for content creation, because it's one of the biggest things that I think anybody that's doing any content struggles with the most is, how to come up with relevant information and and timely. And so he had mentioned, using Chat GPT and his relationship with Mark. And I guess one of the things that he specialized, or you guys specialize in, is the prompts and how to use Chat GPT in the correct way to sort of get the right responses. Because that's something that I've noticed with Chat GPT, at least in the past, is you really get out of it what you put into it. You've got to ask the right type of prompts or the right type of questions in order to get the feedback that you're actually looking for. So it was really, really cool how all the all the thin threads between us all have sort of connected us. But happy to have you on the podcast, and excited to launch into the topic about ChatGPT and AI. And I think it's pretty timely. I guess I should mention we are the AI Safety Summit is currently happening today, November 1st, over in the UK. And a lot more suppliers and distributors are starting to use AI and ChatGPT. I know, Meg, you guys just mentioned not that long ago that SNS was starting to implement AI and robotics, right,
Oh yeah.
in the warehouses and stuff like that. I mean, that's considered AI, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're really cool. They're like little Roombas, but not little. They're very big, and when you see it on the massive scale, it looks like they're very polite robots that have like these crates that are stacked up. I don't know, 10 feet high. I don't even know, but they'll be like going the same. Then one will stop, and then the other one will go, and it's so cool. There was like hundreds of them. So yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah, so Elon Musk is over in the UK right now talking about how we got to develop smarter AI or safe AI.
Yes,
It could be the end of us.
it could be. Well, I'm really interested in what was your starting point? Like, what AI program did you use to kind of like to be like, wow, this is it. This is going to help us get to the next spot. Like initially, like what was that gave you that confidence builder and like learning AI and the Chat GPT stuff?
So prior to ChatGPT, like really making itself known, like OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT, has been around and they've been working on stuff like this for a while. We just haven't seen it like hit mainstream. And there were tools like Jasper, and another one that I'd used was called Copyright. And these were kind of tools similar to ChatGPT, but it was more specific to an individual task. So say you wanted to write a Facebook ad, like a caption for an ad. You'd have a little prompt, you'd type in what kind of ad you're looking for, and then the AI would spit out a response. And so that was kind of the first introduction to it. And this was probably 1 or 2 years prior to ChatGPT really showing itself. So I started playing with some of that, and it was neat, but it wasn't anything mind blowing. Like I wasn't impressed by the results. They were coming back, and I was like, okay, I get it, but I have to rewrite all this. I have to redo it all anyway. So I wasn't quite sure what the real point of it was. And then when ChatGPT came out, and you could have conversations with it, and it could spit out an answer, and you could be like, okay, I don't like that. I wish you would change it in this way.
Yeah.
And then it comes back with a new answer, and then it was like, holy cow, this is what's going to change everything for creators.
And it can write like the scripts. You can tell, like, if you are you can write scripts, but you can't do it if, like, I wouldn't be able to go in and be like, just generate this script and let me take it, copy and paste it, because there are still errors in that. I think you really have to, it's not going to replace the people that are writing those, because you have to be able to understand it to make sure it's correct and to tweak it, because it's going to be like it's going to be very generic, really. But yeah, you can do a lot with it now.
Yeah, you have to know script.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the group that recreated South Park with the AI tool? So, Nick, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but it was pretty neat. So there was a group that wanted to see how far they could take the AI model, and so they basically helped learn by putting in data into the AI database, describing kind of each character and been putting still images of what these characters looked like. So, Kenny looks like this, and this is how he acts. Like, kind of describe them all. And then they had AI create the whole town. And then it said, all right, enter the prompt. And the prompt is something, like such and such character loses his phone or whatever. And then it would say, write a 30-minute script. Boom. And it would have all the characters move, interact, create these full episodes, animated with script, with everything, and how they would interact with each other, basically creating episodes of entire shows.
Wow.
And they were like, obviously we're not going to release this because we don't have rights to it, but it was like, this is where it could go. Like it could actually do that. And then they could go in and interject and say, actually, at this point, let's have this character come in, and then it rewrites it and changes it. So it's pretty far advanced right now. So
that's
pretty
incredible.
wild.
Did you go to Adobe Max, Nick?
Say that again.
Adobe Max.
Oh, I was tuned into that for a couple of the days that they were running. There's some pretty awesome stuff going on there.
It's incredible. So I don't go in person, obviously, but I did register. So I started watching them as well, but I've been so caught up. But when you do register, you have access to all of it, which is really incredible. One of the keynote speakers is actually from our industry. He's a decorator, and I was like, oh, I know him, Aaron Draplin. So I thought that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's like a big screen printer with like very cool designs and stuff. So I thought that was really interesting. But the amount of, excuse me, AI that's coming is incredible. And I wish I had more time to do a deep dive on it before this podcast, but I didn't get a chance. So I'm really excited to kind of play with it and see like what it's all about. But I don't know. I'm really curious to see. I asked ChatGPT, so I have the answers. But like in real life, I'm really curious to see how AI will affect promo overall. I mean, I think the biggest fear, which I think it's a validated fear, but that's only because you just don't understand it yet. But the fear is that AI is going to replace the creative people, the marketing people, the illustrators. But like I said, when we put that one, write the script for the back end of something, unless you understand that and can translate that and tweak it to be right, it's not going to be. So I feel like that's the same with graphic design. Even if you use Dolly or any of those things, none of those images are vector. None of them. No one's able. I haven't seen a lot of AI that can do that. There is a website that will take an image and vectorize it just like Image Trace will in Illustrator. And it's actually pretty good, like really good. But unless you have
vector now.
Yeah. But like those dollies, like those images aren't vector. And when you try to image trace them or you try to put them into those things, they don't clean up very well still. So there's still that disconnect. But there's more than there was a year ago. There's more than there was 10 years ago. I mean, it's incredible. So like this time next year, it'll be like, I don't know. But I think the fear is that it's going to be replaced. You still need the human component. You still need the creativeness behind it. You still need you got to move the mouse. you got to be able to add a little human touch to it. But are you seeing any other advantages for AI in our space by any chance, Nick?
I mean, I guess what you're mentioning right now, I think is 100% spot on. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions with people who are first introduced into ChatGPT, because it's been so overhyped, is that you tell it you want a promo and then it spits out an amazing promo that you can then just copy paste into an ad, do whatever you want. It's beautiful. And that's not really the case. And what we're teaching everyone that's a part of our community, and as we're spreading the word about AI, is that it gets you 80 to 90% of the way there. It puts a lot of the heavy lifting down on paper for you, but then it's your job as the brand, as the human behind the brand, to kind of bring that human out. And
yeah,
I mean, the world's been just blown away by all the AI stuff happening, yet everybody is still wanting that human connection. They want to build that relationship with the people behind the brand, the voice, the message, all of that. And AI just can't get you that. You can get it close, but it just can't give you exactly what your brand can offer and bring to the table.
Yeah, I think you got to approach it like it's another tool in the toolbox. Because I think a lot of people think that it's just going to replace those people, like Meg said, and I think really it spits out a lot of generic information, and like you said, 80 to 90% it gets you the bulk of the stuff, but then you either got to tweak it to put your own perspective on the things, and really even though it's going to create content faster and it's going to create ideas faster, I think the more and more people that actually buy into that, it's going to leave a lot of room for uniqueness and creativity on the other end of things. So as 95% of the people are using that, those 5% of the people that aren't, or that are using it but are able to tweak it in a much more creative way, it really opens the door for people more than anything, I think. So
And if you think about it, so these AI tools are basically giving, I'm gonna say, the average person the ability to create something that they might not have been able to create. Now, the people who were already able to create that had the skills, that had the knowledge, if they adopt these AI tools and they start using them and they can apply their own skills to what these AI tools can bring to the table, they're just going to set themselves up even higher than where they were before. So
right.
it's all relative to how everyone's going to be using it, who's going to be adopting it. I kind of think about it similar to like the calculator when that came out. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, can't use a calculator. Like, no.
It's cheating.
And now, yeah, or in school, they're like, oh, yeah, it's not like you have a calculator in your pocket. Well, now we have these cell phones. Like, it's a piece of technology that evolves and we learn how to use it and advance it and get better with it. AI is the same exact thing. Everyone's kind of like, oh, you can't use AI. That's scary. That's like, it's not going to work. People are going to figure out how to make it work. And the people that already have the skills are going to be able to make it work better than a lot of other people.
So AI is going to be like the Casio watch that you had with the little buttons on it, and you're like, doot, 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 doot.
So I have a hot take. That's a little bit opposite. I think it will cost jobs, and here's what I think that any big tech revolution has some people that get dropped off, and so whether especially with our industry being such a behind industry, we if you think about it, can you name a distributor that doesn't use the internet? Right? It's like, no, like there's probably very few, or if they are, they're very small at this point. But if you don't keep up with what's going on around you, there is some natural drop off, with failure to adjust and failure to adapt. So I do think this is going to be like kind of the next wave of, there will be some people that either decide this is their time that they're leaving, or this is the time that they're not going to choose to take that next step and adjust. I do think that AI is starting to integrate in like basically all of our everyday processes. Like my Illustrator updated, right? And once my Illustrator updated, there's like all these functions now with AI comprehension. I
haven't been in there in a couple days. I need to get in there.
Yeah, you can do text to vector AI generated stuff. There's product mocks, which I believe were launched Q4, where you can load in products, have them auto mocked up so they naturally look like they're on the pieces. So can you continue to adapt without it? Yes, but you'd be using half of your tool belt, right? Because now everything's going to have it integrated. So I think there'll be some natural I would say natural pruning, but there'll be those that choose to kind of go with the technology that now everybody's using, or you won't. And I do think that does leave some people behind, just like any other technological advancement. So I don't know that I'm saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that I think it's just natural to expect that there will be some folks that just can't adjust or can't adapt, and they will be left behind, unfortunately. Yeah. As it relates to the promotional industry, our biggest sticking point with it being fully integrated is the data set learning. And I'm sure Nick knows all about this, but there's things like you can feed in. There's all these tests like fed in what a lemon was, I believe was the example. And they kept feeding in this information, and eventually it started spitting out other things that weren't lemons, because it's like it was limited by the data set. And so like with product being size specific, color specific, there's so many variables and combinations of different things. It's a massive data set. We have millions of SKUs in our industry. Not to say it can't be done. It's just going to take some time before our industry becomes a priority. You know how our industry is. It's not like the priority one of tech advancement. It's going to be medical and business and all the other things before it gets to the promotional world. But but there are lots of really neat things. There's companies that have done auto company stores in 30 seconds. You can do AI's promotional product stores in 30 seconds. You just type in the URL, it pulls the logo off of it, it mocks up thousands of products in 30 seconds. It's like, whoa. So there's some really cool things coming, I think.
I did try that though, Steven. It wasn't perfect again, but I only tried it that one time. But I did see it, and I think it's definitely unique. But again, I've been doing this for a while, so
that's like that was the first one and the first step.
Yeah.
And that was weeks after they had that capability, not years like it used to.
You're right. You're right.
I was going to say that's kind of scary too, though, because that's like from a production standpoint. Like I can tell you as a supplier, there is a divide or a gap between just the virtual people, the people that are doing virtual mock-ups, and then the people that are actually in production. So I can only imagine what AI and their limited capacity is there as well to be able to figure out like what exactly can and can't be done with a logo and in a product and the space and the size and all that good stuff.
That's very human touch-ish right now. Like, so you need that because it's different for every single product.
And yeah, I mean, and without like creating those parameters, I don't know, on the back end, how that would ever even be, fully realized or possible. And that's a huge task. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that for sure.
So Nick, what are you seeing as far as the speed of this? Because it seems like a week passes and you're in the next version, or it's like there's 10 more tools. And I think what people don't realize too, it's a tool that can help you advance itself. So it's like you get stuck. I tell people, I'm like, they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what prompt to put in next. I'm like, ask it what prompt to put in next. Like literally ask it what the next step is if you don't know the next step, and it'll tell you the next thing you should do is probably one of these things. Okay, do one of those. Like you can't get stuck if you just keep asking what to do next. So what are you seeing as far as like the development speed of this whole stuff?
I mean, the speed is crazy. I mean, we've seen ChatGPT when it was launched go from like ChatGPT 3 to 3.5 to 4. Now we're like kind of 4 point something, and like it just keeps growing, and that's been in less than a year. And we've seen it go from text to being able to handle images, to being able to write code, to being able to process voice. Like it's moving at an exponential rate. And I think what's interesting now is people are starting to think of what are the negative implications that are going on. Like this is going so fast, and is it going to get ahead of ourselves where we don't know what's coming, what bad could possibly come of this? So a lot of companies are looking at the safety aspect, and Jeff mentioned earlier the big safety summit going overseas. Like this is something that they're actively thinking about, and I think a lot of these AI companies are slowing down just a little bit. They still have their foot on the gas, but maybe they're just kind of letting off a little because we don't know. Like there was the big writer strike that just happened. There's a lot of things out there right now that people are nervous about. So I think we're going to see it pull back just a little bit, but I mean, as technology advances, that rate just continues to accelerate till you're a vertical line. You know what I mean? So it's pretty wild to see how everything's just been advancing so quickly in just a matter of a year.
So I have a follow-up question to that, Dan. If since the speed of things are so fast, how should anybody be able to keep up with it? Like how do we, as maybe somebody that doesn't even have an introduction to ChatGPT to this point, or somebody that has very minimal experience with it, how are we meant to keep up with the AI or the tech that's behind it? How do we continue to use it to be able to grow with it as opposed to being left behind?
That's a great question.
I think the biggest thing is just playing with it. One of the first things we tell people that have never been never used ChatGPT is go have a conversation with it. Talk to it like you would a friend. Like talk to it like you're talking to Jeff or Meg or Steven. Like just have a conversation with it and see how it responds. And as you kind of you understand how it interacts and how it will reply to you. And like, aside from just physically sitting down and using it, I don't know. I think it would be very easy to get left behind, especially with how fast these things are moving. Yeah, I mean, it's simple. Have a conversation. It's a conversational
I agree. Yeah.
I'll take a stab at it too, because I think if you're trying to get into it right now, it would be like trying to learn how a cell phone's made versus learning how to use a cell phone later. So what I'm getting at is like right now it's so fast and it's such in a development stage that you get into it like at this moment, it can be a little more difficult because you don't know which version. The versions are changing. Like, which tool do I start with? Do I pay for this? Do I not do this? I almost think waiting like 6 months, everything could be so integrated. It could just be in the tools that you use every day. It's
Steven's just trying to get a 6-month head start on everybody else. Don't listen.
That's nice.
but it's true. Like, if you were to try to use the first computer versus a computer 2 years later, it would just be so much easier to use because it tells you, hey, click here to get started,
Yeah.
And so I think some of it right now is very clunky because it's just open. It's just
Free
what
for
you
all.
want to do.
Yeah.
Like, if there's just a bar, like you have to be the one to type it in instead of it being more of hey, like, are you interested in these things? Okay, click here, and then it's, guides you through, which I think is where some of these things are going when you see it in application, like on Illustrator and in some of these font finders and text things and imaging. Out of curiosity, you guys, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think there's something to be said about early adopters, though. I mean, when you think about the internet and that boom, people that got on early on were able to, find a lot of success with it. Whereas, if you got on later, you kind of, not to say you were left behind, but there was so much more to be had by those guys that early adopted. But the sticking point to that is that it has to be something that's going to stick around. It can't be a fad like non-fungible tokens.
No.
Well, I think the difference is the timing. It used to take so long from iteration 1 to iteration 2 with big tech stuff. Now we're talking weeks in one. So it's like, how much of an advantage can you possibly get? It's maybe there is some, but I don't know. It's hard to tell. But I agree. Did you guys, by chance, this is out of curiosity, and Nick, I'm curious, did you guys see the Car on Fire video or the Car on Fire AI animated video that one of the gaming companies put out? So they were trying to create hyper realistic imaging with they were using a car on fire in the middle of a street, and it's indistinguishable between real and fake, because it uses AI as well as like some of like the engines that are out there for animation. So it's wild. The whole stuff is wild.
I will say, in regards to that, I don't know if AI is being used for it, but there's one like first person shooter game that's in development right now that legitimately looks like real. I mean, it is like real images almost. I mean, it's insane. So I mean, that's certainly one thing that is pretty cool.
Can I add something really quickly? I went onto ChatGPT and I asked them, mind you, I use the 4.0 version with the web browsing. So this is going to be like, before it could only give you data up to 2021. So for the sake of, I asked earlier, like, how's it going to have an impact on the promotional market? But we pretty much covered all those topics. So I thought we could end it with, like, based on the information gathered, what were the top AI products for content creators in 2023? So it browsed multiple sources across the internet. I'm gonna read these off, Nick. Do you mind? You want to give me like a ABC rating on them, if you're your own opinion, or not? Okay. So the top one, and I'll give you like some reasons on the top ones, but the other ones I'll just tell you what they are. Okay. The number one is ClickUp. Best for marketing, project management, and AI content writing assistance. Offers generating ideas, copywriting, copy editing, and task management, visual collaboration. So do you know that one?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't used it. It's more the project management side of things. And one thing I will say, a lot of these tools that are coming out, I'm not positive on ClickUp, but a lot of these tools are using the technology behind ChatGPT.
Yes.
So ClickUp may be one of those tools that, rather than you going to ChatGPT and getting the answers, ClickUp goes to ChatGPT for you to get you the answers.
Okay, that's cool. It does say real-time reporting, and so okay. The second one is Narrato, Narrato, Narrato. Best for end-to-end AI content creations, planning, collaboration, workflow management. Provides AI content creation and planning assistance for a variety of content, including blog posts, emails, blah, blah, blah. Okay, 3, Lately. I think I've heard of Lately.
Like lately AI?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Best for generating AI social media posts. I'll have to check that one out. Jasper, you use, right? Copy.ai.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Know that one.
SoundDraw.
Not familiar with that one.
And then audio, text, virtual, spatial pictures and videos. It's a new format of AI that creates spatial pictures and 3D virtual images for the surrounding physical spaces. Dope.
That sounds cool.
I'm going to jump into all of these this weekend and play with them because they seem really
Sounds
cool.
like Pokemon Go.
I know. Oh, yeah, that does sound like Pokemon Go. How was it? Promo Go. Ooh.
Oh Lord.
The lately AI one, that is one that I actually currently use. That is
Okay.
one of the earlier AI tools that that one's probably closer to 2020 when they were like, I first got put on their radar.
Okay.
And what's cool with that is you can take your videos or your blog posts, whatever it is, and you put a link in to that blog post. And then lately goes and scans that information, pulls out like little tweets,
Yeah.
pulls out videos from a video if you upload that, and then you can schedule it across your social media platforms. And then their AI is constantly learning based on what is working for you. So if a post uses this hashtag or this word and gets more engagement, it's going to let you know that. And the next time it's going to look for that word or that hashtag or whatever it is to improve your engagement and grow you overall.
Yeah,
That
that's
one's
really
awesome.
That's neat. That sounds a lot like Copilot. Have you heard of Copilot?
Is that like the Microsoft Copilot?
Yes. So it's going to be built
Yes.
into these computers basically. So you can say, all right, well, I didn't have time to watch the Industry Insider for me, like watch it and like tell me what it was about, and it'll summarize it. And then it could so it's very similar to that, but we don't have it on our computers yet. But like that's so cool. That is so cool. Like I'm really excited for all this stuff. So I know we're going over, but I just wanted to talk about those. I will put all of those in the chat so everyone can take a look at them after the podcast is over. But yeah.
How dare you suggest that AI should give somebody the cliff notes on our show as opposed to watching the show, Meg? Jesus.
I mean, don't do that, but like it's still
All right, Nick, any closing statements or anything else that we should be aware of that we haven't covered yet before we let you go?
I'll give one because I know you mentioned at the beginning of the episode the ChatGPT prompting. So I want to at least give one ChatGPT prompting tip for you guys.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
So for one, you have to think about like you are explaining it to a third grader. Whatever task you want it to do, assume that it knows nothing and be very like as detailed as possible. Think back in school when it's like you have to give instructions on how to draw a certain image. You're going one step at a time and eventually it doesn't look like anything you wanted. That's exactly what ChatGPT is doing. You have to give it the steps that you want. But then lastly, follow it up. After the prompt isn't done and everything's good to go, add this question to it. Say, I want you to follow up with any relevant questions that you have for
You
me.
do that. Yep.
Yes, to make sure that you are coming up with the best possible response. And that alone, like anything that you might not have been thinking about in that prompt, ChatGPT is going to start getting you thinking about it, but you're going to feed those answers back into ChatGPT and it's going to have that information. The more information you can give it, the better response it's going to have. So
to help me
that
you
alone.
help
Yep.
me.
Exactly.
Yep.
I like it.
Help me, help you, help
that
me.
will 100% improve any kind of prompt you put in there.
100%.
Oh, that's awesome. That's actually a really good tip, man. Thank you.
Yeah, we did that
Yeah, absolutely.
last week, and I was like, "Oh, it's asking me if it wants me to do or wants it to do something." And BJ's like, "Yeah, I put that thing in." I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." So yeah, 100%. Thank you, Nick. This was a great episode. I'm loving this stuff. Been on it for a while, and it's just exciting, and it's exciting to see like the tides turn and the little hamster going in Jeff's head because he was so like not playing with his hamster.
I'm way more in line with this than I am your NFTs and non-fungible tokens. That's garbage. But anyhow, Stephen McFadden, any closing remarks?
No, it's an endless topic because you really can just start going down rabbit holes of thinking about what's next and how to use it, and I think it's exciting regardless. Though I think there's a lot of excitement around it, and I can't wait to kind of see how, as a distributor, suppliers start engaging it as well. So that'll be cool.
Stephen, did you write a book?
That's right.
Did you use ChatGPT to write the book for yourself?
I did not. No, I wrote it on my phone while pushing my daughter on a swing. So, and it officially got published and released. I'm trying to find it because I thought I had a copy in here. And it went live.
I thought your shtick was to read a book at the beginning of every episode. We gave
Now
up
you're
on
just
that,
writing
right? You should have been reading
You know
your
what?
own book.
The next one.
There you go.
This
There you
week,
go.
I decided to display some artwork that we did as a team at a splatter house. Highly recommend, fun activity. And if your splatter house has the option of giving everybody guns filled with paint, I would say yes, do it. We did that too. So
Awesome. How
Very
fun.
cool. All right. Well, Nick, I really appreciate you coming on and giving us all of your experience and expertise in ChatGPT and AI. Really fun episode, and can't thank you enough, man, for joining us.
Yep.
Thank you guys for having me. This was a blast. Anytime I get a chance to talk about this stuff, I'm there.
That's cool. Us too. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, until next time, take it easy.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of PromoCorner's Industry Insider. For more great content from industry thought leaders, including podcasts, blogs, and videos, visit PromoCorner.com.